Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we're talking about building relationships, building rapport in business sales and why it's important and how to do it. So I'd like to suggest that building relationships with prospects and your customer is the number one skill that we need in business in order to increase our sales. Because we are, regardless of whether we're selling to a person, an individual or a business, we are selling to people, to human beings at the moment. And to sell to human beings, we need to build a rapport because people buy from people. That's a bit of a cliche, but they do. People buy out an emotion. So we need to connect to that emotion and build rapport. So why is it important? Well, the number one thing is that people will buy from people who they trust. The number one reason why people buy from us is because they like and trust you. So some people say it's price. Price is only 10%. And if people have told you it's price, it's because they don't like and trust you, but they don't want to tell you they don't like and trust you. So the number one reason people buy from you is because they like and trust you. So we've got to build that trust. We've got to make them like us. Number two reason is when you've actually closed a sale with a prospect, they become your customer. When you continue to build that relationship, continue to build that rapport, it increases their loyalty to you. Giving them great customer service, they'll be loyal to you if they've got that rapport with you, which means that they'll stay around with you for longer. They'll buy from you again, they'll refer you to other people. So they, in effect, become your sales force. So by building that rapport, you could earn a lot of money. The other thing, in the sales process itself, if there's an objection, so I don't know, they disagree with some of the terms that you've got, if there's an objection and you've got the rapport, it's easier to be flexible, isn't it? And so rather than have that horrible tense moment when you're trying to struggle around dealing with the objection, if you built the trust, the rapport, you like each other, you've made that connection, it's easier to overcome it. And the same going forward. In the future, you know, we all live in a business landscape that's forever changing. If the customer comes to you and says, look, I need to adapt something or whatever, it's easier if you've got that rapport to adapt the sales process, if you like, the product, the service, to fit their needs. And the other thing about building rapport in your relationships with your customers is if there's a tricky situation, maybe there's a complaint or something, it's easier for you to get the customer to speak to you honestly and openly if you've got that great relationship in place, if you've got that rapport. Because we need feedback from our customers, and we don't just want them fobbing off and telling us a lie and then moving on to somebody else. We want to know the truth and give us a chance to rectify it. And if you have that relationship in place, it's easier to do it. So they're just some of the reasons why building rapport, building relationships with your prospects and your customers is so important. But how do we do it? Now, we're all human beings at the moment. We're all human beings, so we actually naturally know how to build rapport with people. But sometimes in a sales situation, for example, or with a tricky customer, sometimes we can get all tense and nervous and not know what to say. But the trick if it's a trick, is just to learn to relax. Just to relax and be yourself. That's all your customer wants, is for you to be yourself. So rather than pretending to be something you're not, or being stressed and tense, just relax. If it just means taking a couple of deep breaths, then do that. The next thing is just to smile more, because human beings love smiles. Now, somebody once said to me, but how do you smile without being creepy? Now, you only make it creepy if you choose to make it creepy, okay? Because everybody loves a smile. When you smile at somebody, the human reflex is just to smile back at you. And that just creates a lovely rapport, a connection. And in fact, you could try that. Just walking down the street or wherever, next person you see you don't know, just smile at them and see what they do. Could be interesting. But then another thing is to just be open and ask curious questions. Curious questions. Show curiosity. And ask open questions to give them a chance to speak to you. You know, when you first meet somebody, maybe you meet them first in person or over the phone or over Zoom, whatever, you could always just ask a question that's not actually related to business at all. Maybe it's just like, if you don't know where they live or where they're based, you could, and you're not with them, you could just say, you know, you're on Zoom or something, you could just say, so where in the world are you? And I ask that question a lot as a sort of introductory question, because by asking that question, you can find out all the things you've got in common, because it could turn out that they used to live next door to you or somewhere in a previous house, whatever. But finding things in common is a great way also of building rapport and trust and making that connection. You know, you could, if you met them on LinkedIn, if you've never met them in person, you could look through their profile and say, I see you went to Manchester University. I went there too. So it's finding things in common to talk about that's actually a great way of building rapport. But asking great questions is also another good thing, giving them an opportunity to speak. But if you're going to do that, you've got to listen as well. Listen while they're speaking. Don't be ready with the next question before they've even answered you. Just listen to what they've got to say and then respond to what they've said. And especially in the sales process, because this is a bit really where you're drilling down into the problem that they have. So you're going to be finding out how your product or service can help them. So asking questions, showing an interest, listening and responding back is a great way of building rapport. Also, a lot of people forget this, but using somebody's name while you're speaking with them is a really easy way of building rapport. People love to hear their name used. So use people's names. Not too much so that it just becomes annoying, but make sure that you use their names a few times during the conversation. People forget to do that. The other thing, so we've all, some of us have studied NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Sometimes it's got a bad reputation amongst so-called sleazy salespeople. Now, I don't believe, the only sleazy salespeople are people who don't actually believe in their product or service. Maybe they're being paid a commission, they only got paid on commission, so they're desperate to sell to you. That can lead to sleazy salespeople. But if you believe in your product or your service, you cannot be sleazy because you know that your prospect needs this. It's going to help them solve all their problems. So it's your job to find out all the ways you can, to train, to find ways of building the relationship, to build that trust, to build that connection, to build the rapport, so that they are more open to buying what you're helping them to sell to them. And the way to do that, one of the things is using NLP. So you can study books on this, it's everywhere. One of the things that they suggest in NLP is what they call matching and mirroring. Now, what that is, it's what you do it instinctively with people you know really well. If you're sitting there drinking a cup of tea with your spouse or whoever, your partner, your best friend, you'll find that you both pick up the cup together because you're so in tune with each other. You've got that such a rapport that you actually do the same things. Watch it. If you don't know about this, then watch next time when you're with somebody and see if you both pick up the glass together, both pick up the mug together, because I can guarantee that you will, if you're in tune with each other. So you can do this deliberately when you're with somebody you don't actually know, but you have to be careful because you can't be seen to be mimicking them. It's just matching their behaviour. So be careful with that, but it takes some practice. But it's a great way actually of building rapport. There are many other ways. So smiling, using people's names, asking great questions, waiting for them to reply, answering what they've asked, all these good things, matching and mirroring, are all good ways of building rapport. But also things like following up. So if you've made promises or there's actions on you after your meeting, make sure you follow up, because then you're building that trust, you're reliable, you do what you say you're going to do. So these are good ways of building relationships. Send a thank you note, whatever you need to do, but it's actually following up after the meeting as well. And basically you could send them something through the post. Maybe they mentioned something while it's their birthday in a week's time. Remember that and send them a birthday card. All of these good things are great at building rapport. And what it does is it builds relationships. It makes everybody happy. It's a win-win-win. It makes the world a lovely, happy place. So I encourage you to practice the art of building rapport, building relationships in sales. It's so important for you and for your customers to have that relationship in place. So I hope this has been helpful. Please leave comments. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.